Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. There we go. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Okay, it's up, but at the same time, my mic is being a little interesting today. It was showing that it was on, but it wasn't working. Then it popped up beside it. It wanted to. I don't know. Hold on. Check, check, check. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I'm guessing that I'm cool now. Just had to do a quick. That was a strange, quick mic check that I had to do. But needless to say, I'm back. You're back. We are back with another live stream here today to talk about all of our NBA and NCAA college basketball picks for today. Gonna be looking to. I should have streamed this an hour ago, but was having as always having technical difficulty with my laptop here. As I am hopeful that will work with me today. We'll see what happens. As I always say, going to come off camera here once it pops up. Give me a moment, or give it a moment. But hope you're doing well. Hope you and your family are doing well today on this Friday, as the weekend is here. First weekend of the new month has arrived here for February 7th. Actually, no, is this the first weekend or second weekend? Let me double check that. I could be wrong. So this is basically the second week. Literally the first full weekend of March, and walking into the second weekend of March, as we are continuously preparing to push for some wins today. Still waiting for my laptop. Like I said, my laptop is just, it sucks. I need a new one, but I gotta work on a savings plan to get it where I want it to be, or should I not where I want it, but to get a better laptop, hopefully in the coming future. So, like I said, as I always say, be sure to go follow me over on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter. That's what it is for me. At Vortex46 for all of my picks for NBA, for college basketball, hopefully soon NFL, and in the NCAA football for next season. And like I've stated in the past, I'm gonna push to try to do some MLB stuff this season, but take my picks with a grain of salt because I sucked at baseball last season. But that's just me. But let's do the recap here. Went 4-4. As I always say, too, go and create a Pickett account if you don't have it. It's a free app, sports betting app that you can use. It collects all the data, syncs all of your sports books that you use, and it gives you a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly recap of all of your bets. It keeps track of all of your bets. And as you see, I went 4-4 yesterday. 3-1 for college basketball, and 1-3 total for NBA, totaling 4-4 for the day. And we will dive into. I'll just come back on camera. We'll dive into the wins and the losses. Let's talk about the losses for the one loss for college. I took the over. It was the very first game. I think it started at like 12 o'clock. I didn't even realize that it started at 12 o'clock. It was Illinois State, the Illinois State game. The over was 132.5. Per what Outlier was showing, per the information, thought that it was going to go over. That did not happen. And they totaled a score of 124 points. So they were basically roughly 9 points shy. I want to say, 9 points shy of scoring the total. So yeah, that one did not cash. That was a minus 105. The other three did cash. I took Mississippi State. That's the one thing that I've been talking about. I talked about it in yesterday's stream of how I basically was 3-0 with taking the under for Michigan State's games over their last 3 games, whether at home, whether away. Their defense has really been something that has played a key role and key factor into those unders hitting more so than the overs, right? But yesterday, I decided to switch it up and dive into the spread, and decided to pick them to cover the spread at minus 6.5. That was minus 110. And yeah, they were on the road at Iowa, and they covered the spread. They won by 7 points on the nose, so that that 6.5 worked out. Where they won 94-84. So technically, the over actually hit yesterday. So had I decided to try my luck again with the under, I would have went 3-1. But I'll take betting on, this is me betting on Michigan State. In general, I'm 4-0 when betting with Michigan State. So this is something that's been a great pick for me. And really, what I should have done is take all of my wins, tallied it up, and put that the entire one, which was more than likely probably going to be roughly specific amount of money, and would have turned into a good quick couple of bucks for me. So either way, I'll take the win. The other one was another spread. Was Georgia State. They were at home against Georgia Southern. It was plus 2.5. Per the information, what I was feeling with the pick, it was the right pick for them to cover at home, per the information that was in front of me per Outlier. And that was a minus 102, and they covered. They won 80-71. So I'll gladly take that win there, that cover there from last night. And then the other pick was another a spread pick. First time that I decided to go with this team was Colgate. They were at home against Army. Again, another pick that was per Outlier was proven right for it to go their route, for them to be at home and get this win here, where they covered a good number of their games, and Army was kind of sort of like more down than up as far as covering a number lately. So it was minus 6.5. It was a minus 110, and they won 84-55. So they covered that number. So I'll gladly take that win as well. So 3-1 for my 4 picks for NCAA, and I was diving to the losing night for NBA. Yes, I had one win, but yeah, it was an interesting night. I could have went 2-2, and I'll explain in a minute. So the one win was the Chicago Bulls, Orlando Magic over 219.5. I went with that pick. It was a minus 110. Reason being is because when both Chicago and Orlando played against each other, whether on the road or at home, depending on which side was which, they pretty much had hit the over on that game. Now, per the information, what Alar was showing is that, if I remember correctly, the Bulls were, I think let me double check. I think the over was hitting more so for the Bulls than it was for the um for the let's see. So Orlando was 2-3 the last 5 games, while the Bulls were 5-0. So the Bulls were 5-0. So I was just like, well, since the Bulls are 5-0, actually I got the information wrong for what I just said. So the Bulls were 5-0. Magic were 2-3. Again, these are the last 5 games, but the last 6 meetings, the over hit 2 out of the last 4. The last 6 meetings that they hit. So it was more so of looking at it, of saying that because it's the Bulls and what their defense have been doing the last 5 games, with them scoring and their opponent scoring, I went with that information, saying, well, it's the Bulls. They don't play really good defense. I'm going to go on ahead and take this over. And it did indeed hit. They totaled 248 points. Bulls won on the road, 125, 123. They covered the spread, which I think was 5.5. Let me double check here. I'm going to go back to yesterday. It was plus 8.5. Well, it may have been a different number, but again, the app that I'm using here for the free app, the Score, is called the Score. Sometimes those numbers are a little off, but it's showing plus 8.5. So the Bulls cover. So that's that. I'll take that one win. The other 3 losses, per this information, for what Outlier was showing for the Pacers, minus 2.5 for them to cover on the road against Atlanta. It was a toss up, really. The information was basically saying that both teams struggled to cover. Atlanta struggled to cover at home. Indiana struggled to cover in general over the last 5 games. But Indiana, I believe, was 4-1 to covering the number itself against Atlanta. So that's like the main reason why I decided to go with the 2.5 here, right? I'm just double checking here just to kind of get a basis of what. Yeah. So both teams were 2-1 to covering the number ATS over the last 5 games. But again, like I said, Pacers were 4-1 in the last 5 games against Atlanta, whether on the road or at home. So that's like the basis of the reason why. But again, it was still a toss-up because I just, you really weren't sure. Halliburton was game time decision. Somebody else was game time decision. Atlanta, I think Trey was game time decision, and then plus they had a whole bunch of plethora of other people out. So it was just like, it was a toss-up for me on really what I really wanted to do. But again, that look on Indiana covering a number against Atlanta, it just felt right. But my gut was just like, I don't really know which one to pick. I'm just gonna go ahead and go with Indiana. But but Atlanta won 124 to 118. They covered the plus 2.5. So that's that one. That's that one. That one was a loss. The other pick was for the New Orleans Pelicans to go over their team total points, 115.5, at home against the Houston Rockets. They over the last 5 games prior to last night, they were averaging 112 points. They were averaging 117 points over the last 5 games, and the Rockets defense were only allowing 109 over the last several games. But the Pelicans, though, were averaging 111 points against the Rockets in the last 6 meetings. So it was more so me looking at the information and saying everything's pointing in the direction that the Pelicans would go out here and score these 112 points. But it just depended on what the Rockets were going to do. And per what I'm seeing here, they not only held them under, but they didn't even allow the Pelicans to score 100 points. Pelicans scored 97. Houston won the game 109 to 97. Let me see what the score says per the actual stuff here. So they covered the number at 3.5. So on the road. So it was either I was gonna go with Houston on the number or the Pelicans team total points, and I decided to go with the Pelicans at home because again they've been covering the number, covering the over more recently whether at home or on the road. So it was just something I decided to go with, and it was a loss. And the last pick, this one, that's why I say at the beginning of the stream, I should have went 2-2. I decided to go with something different. I'll show you what the pick is. It's at the top here on Pick It. It's right there. It says Boston Celtics 11-15 winning margin, plus 500. So I looked at this. Maxi's out. Paul George was announced out. I think Oubre was coming back. Oubre Jr. was coming back. And I was just like, well, they also announced that, most of their starters weren't playing last night. The only one that was up in the air was Jason Tatum. He was game time decision, while Derek White was for sure going to be playing, and then Pritchard's coming off the bench and playing, right? Or maybe starting, but I think he came off the bench. So I looked at this and I said, this might hit, but I actually was looking at the 16-20 win margin. It was actually still the same thing. It was plus 500, and I was like, this one might hit more, but with the way Boston has been playing, they've only won over the last 5 games alone. They had only won 2 games at home, if I remember. Yeah, at home they were 2-3 over the last 5 games by winning 11 points or more. And the 76ers were 2-3 on the road when losing by 11 points or more. So per the information, I was just like, well, again, more so it was my gut, and I didn't listen to my gut. My gut was saying the 16-20 margin, and I decided to go with the 11-15 because, again, per what Boston was doing over the last several games, it just wasn't a definitive thing for them to go out here and win, even with Maxi-less, Paul George-less. You know what I mean? Like, I just, in my mind was telling me I just don't feel good about this pick. But my gut was saying I should just go with this 16-20 win margin, and Boston won at home 123-105. They won by 18 points. My pick didn't hit, and I could have won a couple of bucks, and I really should have went with my gut feeling. I didn't. So sometimes you go with your gut. We always do say go with your gut, but sometimes you go with your gut, sometimes you don't. Last night I didn't, and it is what it is. So today, let's talk about these 8 picks: 4 for college, 4 for the pros, for the NBA. No graphs. My laptop was just screwing with me today, and I got frustrated. I was like, I'm not even going to try to attempt to even work on some graphs. I will hopefully try to work on some graphs today for tomorrow, because I'm off today, so I have plenty of time, 2 hours, 4 hours, however long it's going to take to put some graphs together for tomorrow. But at the same time, it depends too on what games I decide to pick for my 2 lock picks for the NBA, and then in total, more than likely the 4 picks in total. Pretty much most of the games for tomorrow NBA are later in the day, I think. But let's talk about today. There are 8 games tonight, and there are 31 total NCAA college games. So we're going to talk about the college first, and then we're going to talk about the NBA to come. So NCAA. This is what I decided to do. I decided to go on ahead and go with college stuff. So I decided to go on ahead and go with the very first game of the day. It's the first game that starts at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time. So it's probably more than likely, if you're on Pacific time, it's probably more than likely like 9 a.m. or something, like whichever the time is. But I decided to go with the spread, and I got it at a decent spot, better than where it is now. Now, when I grabbed this, it was at a specific number, and then it dipped up 1, and now it actually dipped up 2 more points here. So High Point is hosting Gardner-Webb, the Running Bulldogs. High Point is 26-25 here, 14-2 conference wise, while Gardner-Webb is 11-19, 5-11 when it's pertaining to the conference. So I decided to go with the spread here. Currently, right now, again, the line moved up 2. So it's 15.5 right now. I grabbed it at minus 13.5. DraftKings minus 115. So when I looked at this, I am going to now move my camera, but give me a moment here. Now, per the spread, when you really look at the information, Garner-Webb's been covering most of the time per the spread. But more recently, High Point has been covering, though. That's the thing. Again, it's more recently. Garner-Webb is the one has been covering most of the time, whether at home, whether on the road. That's just is what it is per the information here on the Outlier. But let's, as always, just look at the the last 5 games. Let me see if I can move myself here if I can. That should kind of try to not be too fully. That should work there. That should be good. So let's look at this. Last 5 games. Let's go to Garner-Webb here. Last 5 games. Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry. I keep forgetting sometimes because this throws me off. So over here on the right, this is the actual number. So Garner-Webb, per the number that's here today, they're 4-1. But technically, spread-wise in general, the original spread-wise, ATS, they're 1-4 over the last 5 games, whether at home or on the road. While High Point have covered 5 straight games. At home, on the road, they've covered 5-0. Per the number, 15.5, they've covered 4-1. So I decided to go ahead and go with High Point here. At home, they've been handling business. They've been winning by big numbers pretty much the last 5 games as well. While when we look at Garner-Webb here, they like I said, they've covered these numbers. They've lost big a couple of times, but the one that they couldn't cover was against High Point. It was recent. It was at home, and they lost by more than the 15. They lost 90-67. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with the more than likely the possible trend of them once again losing the High Point by a big margin here. But we can also too look at the head-to-head matchup. High Point as well in the last 4 games against Garner-Webb, they've covered 4 straight, 4-0 ATS, and then they are also 3-1 to the actual 15. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the trend and hope for the best. So that's the first pick there. Next up is so the next 2 basically are going to be the total. So let me find them real quickly. So let's see. So actually the number dipped down 1. I'm going with the over in the Presbyterian Radford game here. I grabbed this over on another one, DraftKings, minus 115, another minus 115 for this to go over 132.5. 132.5. This one, as you see, dipped down to 131.5. It's minus 105 over on bet MGM. So as we look at it, Presbyterian, the last 5 games, they're 3-2 to the over hitting, whether at home or on the road over the last 5 games. While Radford, they too are also 3-2 to covering this 138, or just covering the over currently over the last 5 games. So, well, actually, no. When we're really looking at this, actually, Radford is 2-2-1. Sorry, they're 2-2-1. I apologize because the last game it didn't do anything. It didn't cover. It didn't cover. It did cover. It didn't do anything. So that's the one. So they're 2-2-1 in the last 5 games. So I decided to go with that. I still decided to go with the over anyway, just simply because it just Presbyterian has been handling the business. But we can look at the head-to-head matchup. They're 2-0 this season for it to go for the number to go over. So that's like the main reason why, because they matched up well as far as, offenses wise, and they've been able to score a lot of points. So I just decided to go with the over, more mainly because of their last two matchups this year, back in last month and on January 25th. So that's that's that pick. And the next one up is a total, but I'm actually going to fade the total. It is Illinois State. They're heading to Belmont. I'm going to be fading the number. Let me see if it changed, because I didn't look at it when I clicked on the game here. But let's see what's what. So the number actually dipped down. The number dipped down. Interesting stuff. So this might be going the route that I wanted to go. We'll see what happens, though. But let's look at this. Illinois State, per the under, they are actually 1-3-1 to the. Oh wait, sorry. Excuse me. This is over. I don't want over. I want under. Excuse me. There we go. There it is. So they're actually 4-1 to the under hitting over the last 5 games, whether at home or on the road. While Belmont are also 4-1 to the under hitting as well. So they're both 4-1 last 5 games. So that's that. But in a head-to-head matchup, though, we can look at this too. They're actually 2-2 to the under hitting. So I would say this year they're 0-2 for a referral. So you have December 4th of 2024, and then you have January 29th where they actually went over the total. So I just decided to take the chance, though, because more so looking at not this year, but more so not their recent matches, but more so looking at what they've done over the last 5 games as a whole in general. They've gone under, so I decided to do that instead. So we'll see what happens. Again, the number dipped down, though, to 153.5. So I grabbed it at 158.5 over on DraftKings. So we will see with that pick. So that's pick 3. And the final pick is actually another spread here. I'm going to see how this goes today. Where are you? Let's find the game. Okay. So the number didn't change. I decided to go with Dayton to cover the number at +8.5. They're on the road against VCU. It looks like the number had shifted from 9.5 to 8.5. So it dipped down one. Some kind of little bit of just like, I wish I would have grabbed this at 9.5, but it's okay. So when you look at this, VCU last 5 games, they've gone 4-1 to covering ATS wise and 5-0 to the number of 8.5. While Dayton, the last 5 games, they're 2-3 ATS, but also 5-0 to covering the actual the +8.5 here. But let's really look at this information per the teams at home versus Dayton on the road. So VCU at home, they are 5-0 to covering the ATS, right? So 5-0, and then Dayton away, they're 3-2. So I looked at all this stuff and I was like, well, I kind of personally feel like, per what the information is, per their defenses and stuff like that, I personally feel like Dayton can stay in this game. If they lose this game, I kind of feel like that they wouldn't lose by 9 points or more. So that's just my thought process on that. But when we also look at this information too with head-to-head matchup, Dayton on the road last season on February 9th, they actually covered the +2.5. Actually, no, they didn't cover. They didn't cover. So VCU covered. On the road here, it was +2.5 last season. Well, actually, yeah, at VCU. So that's that. And when you really look at it too, VCU has gone 3-0 when covering. Actually, no, my fault. Yeah. VCU has covered 3-0. So they're 3-0 when covering a number against Dayton. But again, I just personally believe that, again, per this information, yes, VCU has been covering these numbers, but when we look at what they've done over the last 5 games here. Let's look at the last 5 games. They won by set number. They've been covering the number, whether at home or on the road. But let's look at what they've done at home recently. They've pretty much been knocking it out the park, winning big. But I just decided to go with Dayton, just because per the information here, they haven't lost big except for one time, and that was at SBON, and they were held to 53 points, and their opponent scored 75. So I kind of feel like VCU is not gonna blow them out, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I feel like this is like the riskiest bet out of all of my picks today for NCAA college. So we'll see what happens with that. As I always say, that's what I do here on this channel. That's what we do. We take risky bets. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but we'll see what happens with that. Okay, 2 lock pick coming up. 2 lock pick, and then 2 regular normal picks. 4 in total for the NBA. If I see anything else, if I decide to go with, say, another college pick and another, because I might do 1 and 1 to total out to 10 today. We'll see what happens. I just want to let y'all know, I've been meaning to talk about this too, that I paid attention to a little bit of a record for Fridays and a couple of other days, but I have to really go back and really look at my records for each and every Monday through Sunday to try to figure out all of my records for each day. But Fridays have not been the best day for me to betting wise as far as the NBA is concerned. I'll say that much for the NBA. I'm definitely below 500, and I'm definitely I have a more than a losing streak than anything. Well, not so much as lose, but I lose more than I win as far as Fridays are concerned. I'm just going to throw that out there. We'll see what happens with these picks today, but this is going to be interesting for tonight. For tonight's game. So the first lock pick, I decided to go with a spread right straight up off the bat. Going back to the Utah Jazz, I'm going to look to have them cover the spread. Did actually go up 1. I grabbed this at over on Caesars, and that is -105 for them to cover the spread at +5.5. So let's look at the last 5 games for Toronto. They're 2-2-1 to the number of the last 5 games ATS. They're 0-5 to covering the actual spread, which is 6.5, right? While Utah is also 2-2-1 to covering to ATS, and then they're 2-3 to covering the actual number 6.5. But let's look at this here too. Toronto at home, they're 2-3 at home over the last 5 games, covering the number more recently. Currently, back-to-back games at home against Boston, against Phoenix. They're basically 1-1, 1 win, 1 loss. But either way, they cover the number +11.5 and +2.5, and they're 1-1 per the number, right? But then Jazz are 0-4-1 to ATS and 1-4 to the actual number. So I decided to look at the head-to-head matchup. Utah covered the +5.5 the last time, last season, but this was early in the season. This was December 23rd, 2023. They were on the road at Toronto. They won 126-119. Toronto, when you look at there at the bottom though, they're 12-5-1, 66.8% against the spread in their last 18 games versus bottom 10 defenses. So I feel like this is pretty much like a big risk for me here, specifically for this pick. Here's why. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Let's look at the injury report, because I actually was paying attention to stuff this time, right? So Jordan Clarkson is out. John Collins is out. Keontae George's game time decision. Hendricks out for the year. Harkless is out. Lauri Markkanen is out as well. But I decided to still go with this, and here's why. RJ Barrett's out. Grady Dick is out. Brandon Ingram's still out. Poirier is out. So the only player that's in is Scotty Barnes. He's the only player that's going to be playing as far as key players. Abijah's out too. So yeah, Boucher might play tonight. So yeah, I just said, you know what, I'm going to go on ahead and trust whatever players that are on the court for Utah. You might want to consider taking the under, if anything. That was like the safe pick for real. As you look here, it actually went up 1. It was 2 129 if I remember correctly, so it went up to 230.5. So you might want to consider maybe possibly taking the under instead. We can look at it real quickly here. Again, just based on what both teams have to offer for this game, I decided to go with what just felt like a decent enough pick. The safer pick is to take the under because of what the teams have. So Utah, last 5 games, they're 1-4 to the under, while Toronto is 4-1 to the under. But Utah away, they're 1-4 to the under. Toronto at home are 1-4 to the under. But again, like I said, that's the last 5 games at home, but more so the last 5 more recent games, mostly on the road. The under hit for all of those games, mostly all of those games. So, like I said, this is more of the safer pick. Thinking about taking the under just because of the information. But then you have this stuff here where it says they overhit 10 of the Raptors' 15 games against the bottom 10 defenses. But again, both teams don't have anything to really offer as far as a definitive pick. So it'd be, like I said, be probably more than likely that you would want to take the under. It's -112 over on DraftKings, is the best value. So do what you will with this information and hope for the best. Next, so that's the 2 lock picks there. Excuse me, that's the first lock pick. And the second lock pick, I decided to go with. I did decide to go with the under, right? Gonna see what happens with this one. I decided to go with the under. Grizzlies. My Memphis Grizzlies heading to Dallas. Here the under, I grabbed on another one on DraftKings, -108. That's one of those numbers that I am like up and down with, more so a little bit down when taking this -108. So originally it was 238.5, but I actually grabbed it just when I was getting ready to pick it. It dipped up one to 239.5, so I'll gladly grab that. Like I said, it's -108 over on DraftKings. So let's look at this. Dallas, the last 5 games, they are 3-2 to the under hitting over the last 5 games, while my Grizzlies are 2-3 to the under hitting over the last 5 games. But Dallas at home, they're 4-1 though to the under hitting over the last 5 home games, while my Grizzlies on the road are 2-3 to the under hitting. But let's look at it. Head-to-head matchup, 3-0. Literally 3-0 every time they match up with each other. The under has hit, whether it's 230, 236, 225, 244, whatever the number, and which includes this number here. They're 3-0 to this going under. So with that, I decided to go with the under instead of anything else, spread or otherwise. So that's pretty much the reason why I decided to pick that. Now, the next 2 picks, decided to fade a team total point, and that is the Charlotte Hornets. I've been missing out on their team total points for fading them. I could have been cashing more so a few, the last 6 or so games or whatever. So I decided to fade the Charlotte Hornets at home here. So let's look at this. They're at home hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. So look at this. Last 10 games are averaging 98 points, 97.6, while the last 5 games are averaging 100, 99.8. Cleveland's defense, you look over there on the right, they're 10th right now currently. They are average. Their defense is allowing 112 points, 111.6. Head-to-head matchup though, Charlotte is actually averaging 109, 108.5 here, specifically the last 5 games. But when we're looking at this season, in the 2 matchups currently that they've had, whether at home or on the road, Cleveland has held them to under that 109. Again, I got 109.5 on BetMGM -140. And I decided to go with this one. As you see, it dipped down to -125, so I'm upset that I missed out on that several points for the dip down, but it's okay. But yeah, this is like one of the main reasons, because this year, Cleveland, whether at home or on the road, they've been able to hold them to under the 109. So we'll see specifically what happens. Also, too, we can also kind of look at Cleveland, what they've done The last, I'll just pick any random. We'll go with the actual one. It's 106 here, so we can look at the last 5 games here. So Cleveland, they held Miami to 107. That's the one that I thought was gonna go over that game. I think that was the one game that was gonna take the over. This was a couple of games ago and it went under, so that was a loss for me. So let's see. So let's look at the on the road. So last 5 games on the road, they allowed Chicago to score 117 points, and against Boston, they allowed Boston to score 116. But Orlando, they shut them down to 82. So they're 1-2 to allowing a team to score under 110 points. So yeah, so we'll see if this will cash. We'll see. The hope is that it does. That's the hope. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's that. And the other pick, the last pick for the night, for tonight, I still went with a spread, but I'm upset because I'll explain in a second here. Let's just go here. So, injury report. Because again, I was asleep. I missed out. If I was paying attention, because again, when lines open up super early, sometimes I'll even, if they are more recently, if they are opening up, as say in the evening, like between 6 and 8 o'clock, I will grab a line quickly. And sometimes they hit for me, sometimes they don't. It just depends on the situation. But in the beginning, let's look at the spread here. It's 2.5 now. But in the beginning, let's look at the injury report. Both teams. Portland, they're down Ayton. Avija's game time decision. Grant's game time decision. Thibault and Williams, they're out. So that's that. But my Oklahoma City Thunder, they have decided to rest one player, which is SGA, the main cat, our scorer, our passer, whatever, the top guy, top 5 MVP candidate right now. But Hartenstein is out. Dort is out. Chet is game time decisions, whether or not he's going to be up in there, whether or not he's going to play. Mitchell's out. Wallace and Williams are out. Everybody's out. So yeah, this one, the safest pick probably more than likely would have been the under. I was leaning towards that, right? But I said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to take a chance. And here's why. Let's look at this. So the line, this is why I brought it up earlier, a couple of minutes ago. The line, there's a reason why I'm upset right now. The line opened up yesterday evening, 5:37 p.m. at 15. This was 15. And I'm guessing the reason why it dipped down to 7 and 5 and 4 and then eventually 2 and 2.5 is because they had announced that specific players were not going to be playing. Today, they announced it yesterday. I missed any announcement or anything because I was too focused on some stuff, and eventually I fell asleep a little bit after 8 o'clock. So I missed out. So again, the line opened at 15. Had I seen this line, I would have hopped on the 15. I would have grabbed the 15. But I would have leaned towards the pick that I decided to go with, and that is the Portland Trailblazers. I grabbed the Portland Trailblazers on DraftKings at plus at no, I'm sorry, not oh no, I'm sorry. I was that's what it was. I was thinking about taking the that's what it was. I was leaning towards taking the spread. That's what I was leaning towards, and I decided to go with the safer pick. This is what I did. I went with the under in the total. Just because, anything could happen with this game. Again, Chet may or may not be playing. This again, I went with the under. I took the under on DraftKings, minus 112, 230. So originally it was 229.5 when I was looking at it. It actually opened up at 236.5. So that's why I was saying I'm upset, because I missed out on the actual pick here. Let's look at this here. When you see it here, yesterday at 4:50 p.m. It opened up at 236 and it was fluctuating. It did, and it eventually dipped down to 229. And it dipped down to 226, and I was officially it's back up some. Like I said, it dipped. It was 229, and it did right around here at 9:30 a.m. Dipped up to 230 and a half. I grabbed it at 230 and a half around the time that I was trying to get my laptop to work and get ready to prepare for the stream. So that's what it was. Minus 112 DraftKings, 230 and a half. Like I said, I posted it on my Twitter. Again, I was leaning towards taking Portland on the spread, but I decided to go with the safer pick. And here is why. Let's look at the actual information. Last 5 games, my Thunder are, per the number, 1-4 to the under hitting over the last 5 games, while Portland is actually 2-3 to the under hitting over the last 5 games. But my Thunder at home are 1-4 to the under when it decides to go over, and Portland is actually 2-3 to the under hitting the last 5 games on the road. But head-to-head matchup, the under has hit on the road at OKC when Portland is playing from last season, 3 straight games on the road. That's on the road in OKC. All games, though, the under has hit 5 out of the last 7 games. So, yeah, 5-2 to the under hitting. So these were the main reasons why I grabbed it. Again, 2-0 this season, back on November 20th of this season in 2024 at OKC, the under hit, and then at Portland back on January 26th, the under hit in a 118-108 loss to my Thunder. But I think that's one of the picks that I went with per the spread, and I believe that number covered. So that's the main reason. These are the reasons why I decided to go with these picks here, and the hope is that things will work out and we will get some wins here. So those are the picks. Like I said, if I do find anything, see anything, or whatever the case may be, for anything college later in the day, like I said, maybe I'll probably do one more pick for college, and then I'll probably do one more pick of maybe just a regular parlay, something like one player scoring 10 points, another player hitting 2 threes, or 2 players getting 10 points. I might just do the 2 players getting 10 points type of thing. We'll see. But either way, it'll be a plus 100, plus 150, plus 130, something like that. Lower, higher, middle, plus 100, something like that. And I'll post that on my Twitter account, so be on the lookout for that. Again, go follow me over on Twitter at Vortex46 for all of my picks, college, pros. Like I said, eventually going to look to do some football picks for NFL and college. So more than likely, instead of doing like 8 picks a day, I'm going to be probably doing maybe like 12 or something like that. So, but again, basketball is my thing. College football was winning more so on team total, like fading team total points or going over team total points. Those ones were more successful than trying to pick, for players to cover a spread, or teams to cover a spread, or teams to win a game. Those weren't working out for me for college. But in NFL, I really couldn't find this. At least this season, I couldn't hit on really anything for real. I was trying, but I was failing like majorly. The season prior, when I first started betting, I remember I had won on some live bets. There was a game, because my hometown, the Steelers game, Pittsburgh Steelers, and I remember specifically me and my brother, one of my brothers was texting back and forth for this live pick for, I think it was for, if I remember correctly, quarterback passing the ball, getting a specific amount of yards in before the quarter ended, and I think it was a rush or a receiver catching a specific amount of yards, and pretty much I had won like hundreds of dollars, like $400 or $500 in like 30 seconds. Like I literally took a screenshot, sent it to my brother, like, yo, this is my pick. Sent him the link so he can maybe possibly take that same pick, and then he texted me back like I said within like 15-20 seconds, and he was like, yo, I think that pick just hit. And I was like, for real? And it did. Like I said, this was a couple seasons ago. I remember vividly. I was like, yo, like this pick just hit, and I won a few $100, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And then the very next day, I hit another for another few $100. So I had won like over $1,000 within, I think it was like 1,500 within 2 days. So it was just like, it was something that really worked out at that time. So yeah, but needless to say, yeah, that was like one of my big wins for football for the NFL. But this year, I just couldn't really figure out anything. So yeah, it is what it is. But I'm gonna still try for the season to come. But other way, either that, I'm out. Let's hope for the best for today. Let's push for some wins today. Be on the lookout for hopefully my I don't think I'll have a 2 lock pick video for tomorrow up. It's more likely just going to be me talking about a lot, more so just a live stream tomorrow after work because I work this weekend. So just be on the lookout for a live stream, hopefully around 5:30 tomorrow, and hopefully my laptop will be nice and kind to me and be able to allow me to go live as soon as possible. But with that, I'll hopefully talk to you all next time with more picks to come soon. And we will hope for the best and hope that things work out, hope that things go the route that we wanted to go, and we go out here, we get these wins, and we accept the losses that come, and we'll see what happens. But with that, I hope we talk to you all with another video and or live stream to come soon. Stay